The testing process for the coronavirus is almost a simple one. You first start with a sample that is collected from parts of the body where the coronavirus is normally gathering, which is a person's nose or throat. The sample is then treated with several different chemical solutions that remove substances like proteins and fats because you only want the RNA that is present in the sample. The extracted RNA is a mix of a person's own genetic material and the coronavirus's RNA. The RNA is then reverse transcribed to DNA using a specific enzyme. Scientists then add additional short fragments of DNA that are complementary to the specific parts of the transcribed viral DNA. These fragments attach themselves to the target sections of the DNA, and some of the added genetic fragments that are there are used for building the DNA strands during the amplification process. The other fragments are used for building the DNA and adding markers to them. And these markers are what is used to detect the virus. This mixture of DNA is then placed in the PCR machine, and the machine cycles through different temperatures that heat and cool the mixture to trigger specific chemical reactions, and this makes identical copies of that target sections of the DNA. The cycle repeats over and over, copying the target sections of DNA, and as I was reading, it says that normal cycle could go up to 30, creating over 30 million different types. As the new copies are built, the marker labels attach to the DNA strands and then release a fluorescent dye. This fluorescent dye is what is measured by the computer and is presented on the screen of the PCR machine. The computer tracks the amount of fluorescence in the sample after each cycle, and when the amount goes over a certain level of fluorescence, it confirms that the virus is present. This is how scientists are also monitoring how many cycles that it takes to reach the level, and that determines the severity of the infection. As I was reading, it said that the fewer the cycles, the more severe the viral infection is. Right now, the real-time PCR is the most accurate method for the coronavirus. It is highly sensitive and specific. It works really fast. I read that it could do a diagnosis as fast as 3 hours. But right now, because of all the samples that are being sent and all the things that they're trying to test to figure out what is really causing this coronavirus, it's taken more like 6 to 8 hours. But it is faster, and it has lower potential for contamination and errors. So that's why this is what all the labs and stuff are using.